that she believed she heard God saying to her, "It's your turn." Did I call you Sandy?
Yeah.
Tricia. I know you're Tricia.
And I go by Sandra.
Sandra.
I could have supplied each of you with all your needs, both spiritual and material, but I wanted to make you dependent on one another, so that each of you would be my minister.
Sort of interesting, isn't it? So my neediness is how you can relate to me. It's almost a way of looking at blessed are the poor in spirit. Meaning, if there's an emptiness, then we have more openness to God. And Catherine is saying that as well as openness to each other. So her sense of study is real, even though it's different. There's much more to talk about with Catherine, but I'm not going to because I really don't want to take up the entire time. I want to have time for you all to talk also. I'd like to skip another 150 years into the future because he's 1170 to 1221. She's 1347 to 1380. And the people I'm about to talk to are, remember that good old, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue that you learned in grade school? One of the first places to be actually colonized and settled by the Europeans was the city of Santo Domingo, St. Dominic, in Dominican Republic today. Okay? The island of Hispaniola, as far as the Spaniards were concerned. And in fact, Columbus's son, Diego Colón, because Colón is Columbus in Spanish, is the first governor in Santo Domingo. So to this place that is founded right around 1496 or 97, to this place come three very young Dominican priests, sort of like your brothers, Tricia, because they're in their 20s. They've just finished with their initial kind of study, and they've come to be missionaries among the Indians of that place, as well as to be chaplains for the settlers of that place. But when they arrive, they're shocked by the fact that what has happened is that the Europeans who've come over have brought with them their system of feudalism. And when they get land, they think they own all the people on it too, and those people are their slaves. So for the young people, these three people, and the one that we always remember is Montesinos, who was not the superior, that was Pedro de Córdoba. They were appalled because they were supposed to be teaching Jesus' word. And the actions of these people certainly didn't match the gospel. So as they were trying to fit pieces together to look at the life story of Jesus, to look at their own life story, to look at what life is about, it didn't fit. And so they prayed and studied together and composed a homily and asked the one who could preach the best, who was Montesinos, to deliver it. And this is what he said in part. "You are in mortal sin. In sin you live. By the cruelty and tyranny by which you abuse these innocent people. Decide now, by what right and what justice have you placed these Indians in such cruel and horrible servitude?" And then he goes on, and in fact that's right out of the middle. Can you imagine all these would-be lords listening to this? Well, among them was a secular priest whose name is Bartolomeo de las Casas. And he was so struck by what was being said that he left his lands, went back to Spain, became a Dominican, and ended up being bishop in Mexico, and very much reaching out to the Indians in Mexico. But at this point in time, what was happening was that the people in the pews were very disconcerted and demanded of Pedro de Córdoba, the superior, that Montesinos be punished, and Pedro said, well, really, those weren't his words, they were our words. This is our belief. So where their idea of study was coming together, thinking about what's in the scriptures, what's in the church teachings, what is it in human wisdom, what is it in the human condition, how do these elements of study speak to us, and then how do we act? That's what we think. It's such a beautiful example of the ideal of Dominican study.